When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Tonight on Pulse, Dollard City Hall taken to task over lawn sprays. And street kids versus police. The only theft involved might have been third base.
Oh, you know that voice? You love that voice. The voice of Bill Haugland, and who can forget, Pulse News. Bill Haugland is on the line. Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, when you tell people about your career, do you say CTV Montreal or do you say CF12 Pulse News?
Well, you know, it was extremely difficult to overcome the habit of using the term Pulse News, but I have come to the point where finally I'm able to simply say CTV Montreal, which is what is recognized as today.
Now, Bill, we asked our listeners to send us some messages this morning. I'll tell you this very simply. I was raised by television. I can say in part, you raised me. You meant so much to me as someone that ended up in broadcasting. Have a listen here to some of our listeners and the messages they sent this morning.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'll listen.
Bill Haugland, oh my God, congratulations. So well deserved, well overdue actually, and you were so much part of my my upbringing, honestly, during the evening news. Yourself, Don McGowan, Dick Irving, watching the chemistry between the three was just phenomenal. And Bill, you know, thanks again for delivering the news with empathy and compassion and really giving us the heart of Montreal. Thanks again and congratulations.
Good morning, Bill. I want to thank you for the great memories of watching Pulse News with my dad, as you resemble him very much, hairstyle and glasses. It brings back such great fond memories of me and my dad watching Pulse News.
Hi. I just want to say I was Bill Haugland's makeup artist for decades, and he is such a gentleman. He's the kindest, most compassionate, and interesting person I've ever met. And all the decades that we spent together were a present. It was a gift. So all the best, my friend. I love you, and I wish you only happy trails.
So, Bill, you hear those voices. You get this Lifetime Achievement Award from the Quebec Federation of Professional Journalists over the weekend. How does it feel?
It feels like a great honor, indeed. And it came out of nowhere. Stéphane Giroux of CTV Montreal was involved with this Fédération Professionnelle des Journalistes du Québec, and he had conversations with them about the idea of honoring an Anglophone Quebecer journalist, and I was the first they'd ever honored in this fashion, so a very high honor.
Bill, I often forget what I did on a show moments after the show airs, but I have to ask you to look back on your decades on air, and if there are any moments that still stay with you to this day.
Yes, well, one of the funniest individuals that I ever worked with, who could get me broken up on the air, was Don McGowan, the late Don McGowan, the weatherman that everybody loved, because he had an ability to break me up on the air, as I said. To give you an example, I would turn over to him to say, well, Don, it looks like rain in the forecast. And he would appear to be so astonished by this, he would fall out of his chair onto the floor. And, of course, that would result in me laughing out loud.
Yeah. Oh, man. And those were the moments, right? You were in people's homes, and
yes,
they got to share those moments. How is that? Like when someone comes up to you and you reminisce about the moments that they weren't there. They were in their dining rooms. They were in their living rooms. How does that feel that you shared so many moments with millions of Montrealers?
Well, it was a different era, I think, altogether in the news and weather presentations. Don was, as I say, a real showman and capable of doing the funniest things. Don was sort of a very close friend of mine, and as the years grew by, I realized things were becoming a little bit more formal. On-air presentations lacked that sort of home-baked sense of humor, but he was still top of the list as far as I was concerned of people who made me laugh, and I think injected a sense of joy to the Pulse viewership.
With longtime CTV Montreal anchor, CFCF12 anchor Bill Haugland talking about getting this Lifetime Achievement Award from the Quebec Federation of Professional Journalists. Bill, how is life now? You know, everyone that I've talked to about you say that you are one of the most interesting people. You are interested in the world, everything around you. You're so knowledgeable. How does someone like you, quote unquote, retire?
You know, it's a funny thing. Back in 2006, I realized that I just might be able to do that, accomplish that financially, and I looked very closely at it, and the whole thing came to fruition in the first part of 2007, and I just felt, you know, that it was time. I'd been there for 45 years, and I had put in a lot of effort and enjoyed the career immensely. But it was time, I felt, to finally say goodbye.
Now you mentioned how times are a little bit different now. Would you have advice to the next generation of journalists? How do you view media today, and you know how do you think you would cope with the current media environment?
I think the current media environment is quite dangerous to things like local news, and it really worries me when, you know, local news seems to be kind of an afterthought as opposed to a very prominent way that people get their news. It's been replaced largely, as you well know, by social media. And I have said frequently in various locations on air that it's kind of not like the who, what, where, when, why, and how kind of journalism that we used to know. It's opinions on social media, you know, podcasts and that kind of thing, which really isn't the journalistic approach to news. It's a whole different medium.
Bill, have you thought about joining TikTok or another social media platform and sharing it your way?
No, I really have no such inclination. I you know, my sons and my daughter, they do this, and members of my family are involved with things like that, Facebook and so on. I'm more of an interest. I'm a news junkie, Elias, and I listen to PBS, I listen to MSNBC, I listen to ABC, I listen to all the networks in the States, because I'm still inclined to want to know what's happening, in essence, worldwide. And you don't get that from social media. You get impressions about Donald Trump, or you get impressions that are of a personal nature, not a newscast.
Bill, over the last year or so, I've actually gone to YouTube and watched old episodes of Pulse News. You can find them there. I don't know. Do you ever...
I know.
Have you ever gone to watch? Have you ever said, "Hey, I want to spend some time looking back at my career on YouTube"?
Well, I have looked back numerous occasions. Masumi Takahashi and I are very close friends, and various other people at the station. I had congratulatory remarks from so many: Bob Benedetti, Caroline Van Vlartigen, Maya Johnson, who does anchoring at CTV Montreal today. A whole bunch of people. I think one of the most difficult things I had to face in retirement was in the free time that I had and the missing of all of these people. But my wife Linda and I have an active life. We have now 5 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, and we're always visiting various members of the family. We're traveling to my son's home in New York over the course of this Christmas, and he's coming to our place in Vermont for American Thanksgiving. It never lets up. So I have a busy life as it is.
Bill, on behalf of all of our listeners here at CJAD, want to congratulate you for receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award, and I want to thank you again on behalf of all the listeners here for being a part of our lives for so many decades.
Well, I'm so glad to be with you, Elias, and thank you.
That's Bill Haugland right there, longtime anchor at CFCF 12 and CTV Montreal.